Welcome to the weekend edition of UFO Buster Radio. UBR Truth Seekers interview number 3, 1, 2, 3. The first one was the man known as Sawyer, who was a former Heaven's Gate member. I mean, come on. You people know that was the shit, that interview. But I did get some complaints. It's like, hey, Moonraker, I can't really hear you on here. Were you even on in the fucking episode? Yeah, I was. It's a new mic, new setup. I've been saying that for like months. Damn. And I can't get it right. Can't get the shit right. Completely new setup. I don't know what the hell is going on. But I'm here live for number 3 on a Saturday because this person, interview number 3, decided I can do it. Now, you're going to hear a lot of shit in the background because no fucks given. It is freaking raining like crazy. It sounds like popcorn in my ears right now, but that's how hard the rain is hitting, and it might be a little bit of ice mixed in with that. So, you hear that? That is crazy. That's Texas for you. No, stop fucking around. You come to Texas, you're going to have, in 1 week, every single goddamn season that could possibly be known to man fucking kind. Now, number 2 was the interview with Big O. So Big O was here. He actually made it in, and the mic was a little better that time. But Big O decided he needed to go outside to get a bit of fresh air, pee next to a car. I don't know, lift his leg somewhere. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Now, number 3, this rain is going to be fucking annoying as hell. Number 3 is the man that we like to call the Supersapien, the 2018 Rubber Dickies Supersapien, the man known as Ronny Dawson. Now, here's the thing. I'm trying to... Do you hear that rain? Holy shit, what the hell is going on? This episode might be interrupted. It really might not happen because if I lose power, this interview is going to be 4.2 far fucked. And it won't happen. So... now, I'm trying something a little different. I am going to call Ronny through Skype, and you'll hear the usual Skype stuff. But listen, if you're listening live right now, go ahead and share it. Share the interview. We got Ronny Dawson back, 2018 Supersapien, and there's a reason why he's a Supersapien. It's not because of Dragon Ball fucking Z. Because Ronny Dawson is an experiencer. Ronny Dawson is out there all the time, trying to get the word out, investigating, sharing information. He's all over UBR Truth Seekers. And that's why he got the award. He's a Supersapien. He's not just regular Homo sapien erectus. Though I'm sure he would love for us to add the word erectus to the end of Supersapien. But, you know, hey, that's something he needs to keep behind closed doors. We're not going to talk about that at all. And if you're on here and you're listening and you decide that one day you want to listen to me live when this shit happens, number one, you have to follow on, social media because automatically we're going to send this out through social media, Twitter, Facebook. Fuck Google+. They fucked everybody over. But everywhere else, right? And then on top of that, if you want the notification, you need to tune in to Spreaker.com. Look for UFO Buster Radio. That's where the episodes happen live. Everywhere else, it'll be sent later on. You know, YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, and all the other damn places. The only place that it happens live is on Spreaker. So, sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry. That's the way it goes. So, in a few minutes, I'm going to give Ronny a call. We're going to talk about his experience. There's a lot of new listeners in a lot of different countries who have not heard about the Ronny Dawson story. And I want him to tell it. Yeah, he could give the short version if he needs to. But, hey, that's cool with me because I already know the story. It's for you guys, the new people who don't know. And then after that, I got a question for Ronny that I asked him before. He kind of like shied away from it. He's like, no, Moonraker, I can't really do it. I don't want to do it. I feel funny about it. I feel like it's not going to be the thing to do's. Well, no, of course it's going to be the thing to do's because we're going to do it, Ronny Dawson, whether you like it or not. Anyway, that's just the way it goes. Listen, just keep in mind that Ronny Dawson is one of those folks that's an experiencer, is not afraid to talk about it. And so when you listen to him, just understand that he's past that stage where people have stage fright. Because shit, he just told me he got off on another podcast at 2:30 in the fucking morning. I'm telling you, the guy's a Supersapien. He's out there. He's making it happen. And let's see. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? That's not fucking Godzilla. That's not Godzilla the movie that's coming out. Godzilla 2. That's the thunder. That's the thunder in Dallas, Texas. Because it is. I picked the wrong day for an interview. Poor Ronnie. He's got to compete with God now, or whoever you believe in. I don't know who that is. But here we go. A 1, a 2, and a 3. Let's go, Ronnie. And waiting for Ronny Dawson. We are waiting for Ronny Dawson. And you hear that, folks? That's Ronnie. He's ringing. Ronnie is ringing. Hey, Ronnie. Welcome back to UFO Buster Radio. How are you?
All the way down here, but I'm hanging in. I want to hang tight, and hopefully this winds don't blow me out.
Yeah, so let me just say this, that the first 2 minutes of you speaking, I had you on mute. See what I mean? This live stuff is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, totally. So, Ronnie, I was telling the folks before you got on that it's been a while since you've been on the show. Maybe almost a year.
Yeah, I knew it'd been a little while. We did a Roswell update there a while back, and then I had some. I added like 2 chapters to my ebook because I had some more stuff happen that I don't think you've heard about.
No, actually, I kind of did, to be honest, because sometimes I listen to those other podcasts too.
Yeah, it's getting around. It's getting around the internet, but yeah, I had some crazy stuff happen in August of 2017, and actually it was in February, a little bit before that too. So I haven't talked a lot about it.
Yeah, what I was telling the folks is that we have a lot of people who are coming in from different countries lately. I mean, just to name a few, we got South Africa, Ireland, the UK, Australia, and Turkey, believe it or not, is coming on strong. So I figured a lot of these folks are new. So the first incident, the one that got the Ronny Dawson experience going, I want you, if you can, to give people a synopsis of what happened. Because, I mean, I know the story, but they might not.
Yeah, it was shortly after the Stephenville mass sighting I think it happened in 2008 or 2009 when everybody had seen something down in Stephenville. And I work in this area in the oil field. And we were seeing some odd stuff out here moving around the trees at night. It's just mysterious lights that would appear, disappear, sometimes sequence, and then just vanish with no aircraft inside. And people were trying to explain it as military helicopters at night with all the running lights out. People were trying to explain it, saying it was a military dropping flares. But I don't buy that because, on a clear night I can see planes 30 miles away, and I definitely can't see no plane. I can't see anything dropping lights out of it. So there was definitely some odd stuff going on down here in Central Texas. And like I said, it's paranormal for sure because I couldn't explain it. I've been working nights for decades, and I've seen just about everything out there at night that you could expect to see. And knowing everything I know, I can explain it through logical explanation. So I was pretty hip to the fact that something odd is going on out here. And I made so many MUFON reports that they were begging me, can you catch some photos? You got to catch some photos. And trust me, I was trying. I had a camera with me all the time. As soon as I would see it, I would try to get a picture of it. I mean, I'd jump out of the truck with the camera in hand, pointed at the occurrence. And as soon as I'd raise the camera up, it would just blink out. Like I was watching them, but they were watching back. So it was almost impossible to catch anything. But the first thing I seen that just really grabbed me was I was traveling south of Cisco, Texas in my oil truck going after a load of oil. And there was this huge array of lights lit up in the sky in front of me. And it was across the sky, huge, giant lights. And there was like 6 of them. Then 3 more came on. So there was 9 lights. And it's covering probably a 2-mile area of the sky up the road in front of me. And I'm looking at it, and cars are stopping looking at it. And I'm headed down south to Cisco towards Rising Star. And I get down there, and all of a sudden 3 of the lights break off. and they drift down to the field to my left, about a quarter mile off the highway. And then I'm watching all this activity go on in my truck, and I'm digging around. We have these accident cameras in our truck, and I'm looking feverishly for this disposable camera so I can get some pictures of this, because my digital camera at the time had quit working and I was in between cameras. And so I'm looking for this camera, watching what's going on, and these lights drift off to the field over to my left. This blue light comes out of it, and I'm going, my God, what the hell is that? And there was something standing in the field, and it looked like a bobblehead doll with a green glow around it. And I was going, man, this is absolutely the craziest shit I've ever seen. And so I'm thinking about stopping, and then I see this blue light shining on the ground, and all of a sudden I see something in the light about 30 feet off the ground, and it's kind of moving inside the light. And I'm like, and the closer I got and the more focused I in on it, I looked, and all of a sudden I recognized it. 30 feet off the ground was this cow up in the air, suspended, and it's whipping its head from side to side while it's being lifted in this light. And at that point, it scared the hell out of me, and I didn't care anything about stopping or trying to get pictures or anything at that point. I just wanted to get the crap out of there, because I had a bad feeling that I might be next if I stuck around.
Yeah, no kidding. Cows in the air, that's bad news.
Yeah, it would have been awesome to have been able to get a picture of that. But like I said, at night, it wouldn't have been a very good picture. Any picture you take at night of a moving object or from a moving object is not going to be a great picture. And, you know, that's one of the things that's bothered people taking UFO pictures for years. Is it's under the circumstances of a UFO, you're not going to get a great picture. If it's a real picture, you know, if you see a real good picture of a UFO, the chances are it's phony, it's made, it's fabricated. A real picture is not going to be that great.
So now the thing about your picture is that what the phone that you had it wasn't like a fancy smartphone that we have now, was it?
No, it's the phone that I had, because I was seeing some stuff, and because MUFON had asked me to get some pictures of stuff. I was back in 2011. We didn't have smartphones, and phones had just came out and started having cameras on them. And I caught I had a motor. I spent a little bit extra money and got a Motorola Tundra. And not only did it have I think it is a 2 megapixel camera on it. It had video capability, which was almost unheard of at the time. It was like one of the first phones that had video capabilities. And so I spent the extra money to get this thing because I had been seeing some stuff, and this was the phone that I caught a lot of the pictures that I captured on back in 2011. Which it's not a smartphone, it's not a great phone, and the thing is, it takes really, the video and stuff it takes is really low resolution because they know you're going to have to email it to your friends and stuff like that. So back then you couldn't transmit a lot of data. So yeah, it was very small file, a very poor quality compared to what we have now. But you know, that was what we had to deal with at the time. You know, that was the best that we had. And even when I took a camera, and I know I had a great opportunity at one point to catch a daylight shot of a craft late in the afternoon. I was going after a load of crude oil, and it seemed like when I worked, it seemed like they always knew where I was at. There was always something weird going on a Wednesday or Thursday nights when I worked, and late in the afternoon, I seen this. It looked like this rural house was on fire because it had this black cloud of smoke floating over the top of it. And when I was getting a good look at it to see if I was thinking about calling the fire department over there because I thought maybe something was on fire in the place. It was unoccupied. It was like a vacation home on private land. And once I got closer, there was a array of 4 big bluish white lights, like the same color lights that I've seen all the time, came on right in the middle of it, and I knew at that point immediately that it wasn't a cloud of smoke. It was a UFO craft, completely black, completely hazy. No matter how good a camera you would have had, if you took a picture of this thing, it wasn't going to be a great camera because it was just blurry. I don't know if it's some kind of stealth they're using or the magnetism around the craft, but it was really hazy looking with your own eyes. And so I knew that you wasn't going to be able to get a great picture of it, even if you did have a high quality camera set up. You just weren't going to get a great picture. There's no way. And it moved off, and I actually chased it in my truck. And I thought, man, how many people in the world can say they chased a UFO in a truck?
No kidding,
and
right?
I was shining my spotlight at it. And I followed this thing off the property, and then it just, all the lights and everything went in on it, and it just disappeared. You couldn't see it. I mean, it just vanished. It didn't take off. It was there 1 second, and then all of a sudden it just faded to, I had a feeling it was probably still there, but the stealth was working correctly or something, and you just couldn't see it. And I mean, that was an up close and personal sighting. And my phone, and I had a charged camera with me. And I grabbed that thing to get a picture of it, and guess what? That battery, the lens on that thing opened up, and the battery just died, or it got something. Yeah, it went completely dead. And to this day, I still have that camera, and the lens is fully extended. And even when I put new batteries back in it, nothing. That thing is like, it just froze up. New batteries didn't help it. It never operated again.
So right after that incident of that crazy-looking black craft, a lot of stuff started happening shortly afterwards, right?
Oh, yeah. It never really ceased. It was almost like every time I'd go out, I would see something. And at one particular point, and I still didn't have that great shot. I didn't have a good shot yet, and it was frustrating the hell out of me to try to catch a picture for MUFON, who was demanding to get some pictures, because every week it was like I was filing a report with those guys, and they're like, "Can't you get a picture of it? Can't you get a picture of it?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think I ain't trying." And so I was really wanting to get a picture of it. All of a sudden, I got to this point where I'd seen one craft, and I jumped out to get a picture of it, and it blinked out. And then, and the second sighting that week I had was the black craft I just told you about. And I told my buddy Alan Archer, I said, "Look, man, I have seen 2 UFO craft up close and personal this week." And I said, "I have this idea that we can do something amazing, something that nobody's ever done before." And I said, "I have this high-powered 250 milliwatt green laser. If I get the opportunity, I want to shoot it near the UFO craft to see if the beam deviates, if the fabric of space and time is bent. I'm thinking that the light of the laser should bend. And if you can catch it on video, we really have something. We really have some definite proof to show the skeptics and scholars that what we're seeing is something paranormal as opposed to normal." And so he agreed to help me out on this deal. I don't think he really believed me. I was sitting here, I'm stone cold sober. He's having a few beers, no doubt. And he's like, "Well, okay, I think he's probably thinking he's just going to accommodate his foolish friend." So he lives in a place just outside of town here in Ranger, Texas, and it's up on a hill, and it's a great place to UFO watch. And he goes, "Well, we can just go to my backyard. I don't know of any place better than that." And I agreed. I was like, "Okay, that sounds, your place would be great. It's just a little ways out of town. It's a private, located, secluded place." I said, "Okay, let's do it there." So I had the laser, I had the camera. Earlier, we had heard some military jets flying around, and we weren't seeing anything. And I was like, as long as these jets are in the neighborhood, we're not going to see anything. So we just sat there visiting and stuff, and I'm thinking it's pretty much hopeless that we're not going to see anything. Even though I'd already seen 2 craft in 7 days, I thought, well, we're going to strike out tonight. And then all of a sudden, my buddy said, "Look, man, what is that?" And I looked, and it was a 4-light craft, just like I had seen earlier over the house, appeared. It was about 200 or 300 yards from us.
Did he pass out or something? Ronnie? And Ronny Dawson is out. So basically, folks, Ronny Dawson is also having inclement weather in his area. And we figure something like this might just happen. So it looks like Ronnie is incognito at the moment. But anyway, since we're live, this is what happens, people. This is what happens. Let me welcome Zachariah. Zachariah, welcome to the live chat on Spreaker.com. And we'll see if we can get Ronnie back on the line. So, Zachariah, what happened was I got closer to the mic. It's one of those mics, you got to be right on it, but it's a compromising position for me. Not something I would be caught dead doing. That's all I'm saying. Let me just see if I can find, Ronnie here. Ronnie's like totally gone. I guess Ronnie will be calling us back by phone. Hey, listen, we knew this was going to happen because the weather is totally nuts in Texas right now. And so, yeah, absolutely, we are going to have to wait for Ronnie to come back. So in the meantime, what you do when things go wrong when it's live, you play some fucking music. So here's the damn music.
The satellites explode. It must be bad news overload. Then we salute eternity and pay our final.
Well, just to let you know, folks, Ronny Dawson is back, and he had to call in via telephone. So, Ronny, good to have you back. Ronny? Did I lose Ronny again? Maybe it's a do-over. It says he's there. Oh, Zachariah, it might be a good idea to find some Britney Spears right now. Earth to Ronny, come in.
Let me go out here and see if I can get a signal here.
Ronny, you there? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hey,
yeah.
Ronny.
Yeah, I guess I lost signal there in the house. Now I'm standing outside now.
Oh, boy, watch it. Do you have your glass slippers on? You might disappear.
Yeah, it's pouring rain out here.
Yeah, I bet it is.
I don't know what's going on, man. It's like the phone signals and the internet is trying to go out.
Yeah, Zach says that the aliens finally got you. They got you to go outside, and you're about to get probed.
Yeah. But are we live now?
Yeah, we never left. I mean, I stayed on.
Okay.
I kind of have to
thing. I can pick up where I left off there, or where I think the internet left off.
Yeah, keep on going.
But,
you were talking about you were at your friend's house and you saw some UFOs.
Yeah, and like I said, I had that laser. We were shining that laser around the craft and on the craft. And once I got a little braver, I shined the laser on the craft, and luckily they didn't fire their laser back. And then I looked over at my friend and I said, "My God, man, I hope you're catching this on the camera," which is 3 feet away from him. And he's standing there and he's looking up at this UFO and he's just gawking. He's just gawking at the thing going, "My God, what is that?" And I'm like, "Dude, the whole point of us being here is that you record this laser being shot at this UFO." And he's 3 foot from the camera and he's just sitting there gawking at the UFO instead of. But that's the way it is. When you finally see something for the first time, and he had never seen a UFO before, he just completely lost track of what was going on and was standing there just baffled at what he was seeing before his eyes. And I'm shining a laser around this thing, and he's probably wondering if we're both going to end up being turned to ash right there where we stood. So I was just disappointed that we missed the opportunity to catch the UFO on camera, and that we missed the laser test on camera and everything. So we had come out of it with nothing. The laser beam did not deviate like I hoped it would because of the crash propulsion system. And I had no evidence once again to prove that I'd been seeing anything.
Well,
Frustrated, I went home.
I have a question about you, for you from Zach, especially in that situation or any other time that you've had a encounter or an experience, because you said these guys tend to come around a lot. Have you ever experienced any missing time, Ronnie?
Not that I'm completely aware of. I mean, the only time that I really had some missing time, or it wasn't really missing time, it was time had got paused. At one point, I was I kind of felt like the government or somebody was trying to take me out because I had several things happen that was just. And it was all, and part of it was what inspired me to write the book. It was like, I need to get something on paper in case they do take me out. You kill the man, you kill the story. And I didn't have my story out there just very few ways. So that's when I decided I'd write the book and get it on paper anyway. That way, if they take me out, at least the story's not going to die with me. But I was traveling down the interstate, and like my friend Alan, my friend Alan that was there with the UFO craft had just died under kind of mysterious circumstances. They don't, and they didn't do an autopsy or anything. There was a out of town coroner in, and they decided not to do an autopsy. And I was the guy that I didn't discover the body. They wouldn't let me in the house, but I talked to his sister and said I hadn't seen him, and I went over to his house, and I couldn't get him to answer the door, and I'd seen that it'd been snowing, and I'd seen that nobody had been out of the house in several days, not even to check the mail. And his sister gave us permission to break in, and the police went in and found him dead in his bedroom.
Pretty suspicious, huh?
Yeah, it was kind of suspicious circumstances, and we were hoping they would do an autopsy, and they didn't. They just didn't do an autopsy because he had a previous heart condition.
Oh,
and they just automatically assumed he died of a heart attack.
Natural causes, yep. And
we're just kind of wondering. It's fishy circumstances. And I was there when they loaded him up, And but the really strange thing was what happened the next night. The night after we fired the laser at the craft was the night that it really got strange, because I'd worked the next day. I came home, and I have this house cat in my house named Striper, and he's like a large Mancoon cat, and he's declawed. And I come home, and the cat's not in the house, and I start looking around for him, and I find this big hole chewed through I've got 3 bathrooms in the house, and this is like the oldest bathroom in the house. It's not used very much, but there's a big hole chewed in the floor of it, and it goes to the underneath of the house, and there's no cat. And the hole is big enough that I'm thinking, my goodness, how did he chew a hole in my floor and disappear through the hole to the underneath of the house? So I was frustrated that there's a hole chewed in my floor. I'm frustrated that the cat is gone. And so I go around to where I can access it underneath the house, and I see where the rocks are kind of pulled back, and I'm thinking maybe he could have gotten out, because the rocks were pulled out far enough that he could have escaped. So I called up underneath there, and I heard him meow, and shortly afterward he came running to me. So I gathered him up, and I patched the hole over the floor with it's like a metal roof that you put on the top of your house, a 30-year metal. It's some tough stuff, and I put screws in it, screwing it into the wooden floor where the cat couldn't access the hole into the house. And then a little bit later, I went to bed. And like I said, I leave my house with enough lights on that I can move around. I can go to the bathroom. I can get up and go to the refrigerator without falling and stumbling over stuff. So my house is never completely dark, even at night. So I just laid down to bed, and I just my head had just hit the pillow. And then I hadn't laid down, but not even a minute yet. And all of a sudden I hear stuff breaking in the kitchen, like dishes being knocked over and broke. And then I'm hearing cabinets and doors open, and I'm thinking, so I try to get up out of bed. And then to my amazement, I was just like pinned to my bed. And it was like the harder I tried to get up, the more the force held me in place. And I couldn't get out of that bed. And I thought, what the hell? Am I having a heart attack? Is something going on physically, health-wise? And then I looked out the opening. I kind of could see out the opening of the door, and I see my cat, and he's looking back towards the kitchen where the noise is coming from. And then I hear some more noise while I'm sitting here looking at my cat. So now I'm realizing that whatever's doing this isn't my cat. And then all of a sudden my cat comes running into the bedroom where I'm at and jumps up on the bed with me. And the cat's moving around on the bed just fine, but I can't move around on the bed to save my life because something has me stuck in this bed. It just pinned me in it. And so I'm watching this cat move around fine. And I'm sitting there pinned to the bed. And then all of a sudden I seen a streak by the door opening. And I mean, whatever it is not big, but it's probably 2 feet or shorter, and it's moving lightning fast. And then I seen another one. And I'm going, okay, what in the hell is that? I'm pinned in this bed. Now I got something in here, and I hear the cabinet. I hear some cabinets opening and drawers and stuff like that. And I'm hearing some stuff get knocked around. A lamp got knocked over and busted on the computer desk. And the whole time I'm pinned in the bed, the cat's looking very anxiously out the door at what's going on out there. And I'm thinking to him, well, go kill the damn thing. You know, you can move. I can't. And he's looking at me like I ain't going out there. And so
right. Yeah, he got under the covers.
And then I knew it wasn't something normal, not only because I was pinned to bed, I seen this damn thing run sideways across the vertical wall. And I'm going, okay, that is not, there is nothing, I don't know anything that can run sideways across a vertical wall at lightning speed. And this thing did, and then it did it again. And then a second one was in here, and they were running around here. It's almost like they had a game of chase going on with each other. They were running up the wall. So I seen them run straight up the wall, bounce off the ceiling, and run straight down the wall. Like gravity didn't even apply to them. And they were like having this game of chase in my living room. And then all of a sudden, a third one appeared in the doorway. This thing, it was the first good solid look because it ran on all fours, and it stopped right in front of the door. And then it stood up on 2 legs. It's about 2 foot tall. It had very long front arms, like almost looked like an insect. It had a face like an old man. It had big eyes, but they were squinted. It was like the lights I had in the room were hurting its eyes. So it was like squinting because of the little bit of light that I had going on in my house was like enough that it was actually hurting its eyes. And this thing had a very angry looking face, and it had like an exoskeleton armor. And even on the armor, there was these spikes, like they looked like the thorns on a rose bush, actually. Like if you would have grabbed this thing, it would have really hurt your hands and arms to grab this thing because it's almost like the exoskeleton had thorns on it.
So, Ronnie, was there anyone else in the house at the time that you had the little visitation?
No, there was. At this time, I had a girlfriend, but she was going to college and she had student loans, and she's my wife now. But at the time, we were just dating, and she had student loans, so we couldn't even get married until she finished her college and stuff. It would have messed all her student loans up. So she was living in Eastland, and I was living over here in Ranger. And it was just me and the cat lived here at my house. We're the only ones living here at the time. So, but, I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and I'm thinking, as long as you guys stay out of this damn bedroom, you can do anything you want out there. Pin me in this bed, just don't come in here. And sure enough, it wasn't going to happen like that because that thing, he looked at the other two as if to scold them for what they were doing. And they stopped running around. They stopped their little game of chase, and they went back to opening stuff up and searching things again. And then all of a sudden, he looked at them again, and all 3 of them shot under the bed where I was pinned. And the next thing you know, the bed is bouncing like 1.5 feet off the floor and being slammed back to the floor. And I'm bouncing off the top of this damn bed. The cat jumps off the bed, hauls the ass, and he's sliding around the corner of the doorway as he's leaving. And I'm thinking, well, hell, at least one of us is going to get away. And nothing gave chase to him. but these guys are still banging the bed underneath there. And then the bed stops banging, and now I hear them clawing at the bed. They claw through the box springs. I can feel them up underneath me like they're trying to claw through my backside from underneath. And if you ever seen the inside of a box spring, it's nothing really, but it's like a wood box. It's covered in fabric, and mine had a piece of like fencing wire, like nailed to the top of it. And they tore through the cover of the box springs. You could see scrape marks where they had clawed the bottom of it. You could see where they had grabbed the metal wire mesh that's nailed to the top of it and bent it, actually pulled on it so hard, but they couldn't get through. It was like they were trying to claw through the bottom of the bed to get to me, and they couldn't get through the metal spring thing that covered the box springs. You know.
So you think these were associated with that black craft?
I have no idea. I think it's several aliens working together. And I think the Greys and the little guys that were in my house, they were like a recon team. And like I said, once they got to the place where I was keeping the laser, the whole encounter stopped. But at one point, they were shaking that bed. They were clawing it underneath the mattress, and I felt like they were either going to kill me. They were fixing to kill me right there. And I thought, well, I had a plan. I screamed, I was cussed, I was going to break free, I was going to go for the golf club sitting in the corner of my bedroom, I was going to grab that golf club, and I was fixing to go to town on these damn ETs. And I tried with all my force to break free from the force that was holding me in that bed, and it was almost like I had a heart. The harder you fight it, the more force it uses, and it was almost like it affected my heart, it affected my breathing, and it felt like I almost had a heart attack because of the force I was fighting it with. Because I had decided I was going to break free, I was going to grab the golf club and try to kill these things. And nothing. I couldn't break free from the force. And no matter how hard I tried, and it felt like it almost had a heart attack trying. And so here I was pinned in this bed, and I thought, man, these guys are just going to kill me, and there's a damn thing I can do about it. So I'm laying in this bed in a hopeless situation. Once they got to where the laser was kept, everything went quiet. Everything went back to normal, not a sound in the house. And then all of a sudden, my body jumped out of that bed, and I screamed cuss words, and I grabbed a golf club, and I was in a fit of rage. And this is something I tried to do like 3 minutes earlier. It was like my body was acting like like it was on remote control, man. It freaked me the hell out because I had tried to do this 3 minutes earlier, not now. Now, all of a sudden, it was like, whatever they did to me, it blocked the signal that my mind was sending my body and my muscles. And then once they released me, it was like what I had tried to do earlier got processed, and my body was like a robot acting on its own, freaking me the hell out. But all I know is I'm standing there, I'm holding this golf club, and I'm pissed off, and there's EP in my freaking house, and it's time to go on a freaking hunt. And I took that golf club and I went around the house and looked in all the dark places for these damn things. Every cabinet, every drawer, and the whole house was open. I mean, they had opened everything that you could possibly open. And I searched all the dark places to see where these things were hiding. I finally went back to the hole in the bathroom, and that tin that I had screwed down, they had pried it up. And this stuff is tough. It took a incredible amount of force for whatever it was to pull that tin up. And they went right out the hole in that floor, and then it occurred to me that these are probably the son of a guns that made the hole, not the cat. I'd give the cat credit for it, but it's probably these things that made the hole.
Ronny, you had like your own little personal skinwalker ranch down in Ranger.
Oh, yeah. And then it's like I'm a hazmat material crude oil transport driver, you know. It's like I got to be careful who I tell this to. I'm like, I really wanted to call the police, but I'm sitting there going, you know what? If I call the police and tell them I had aliens in my damn house, and what proof do I have? You know, I got a hole in my floor, some bent tin, some scratches under the bed, and a cat that lives in my house. And so, you know, it's nothing good's going to become of that, and I'm going to be ridiculed. I may lose my job. They're probably going to think I'm on drugs or insane or some kind of crazy shit. And so I pretty much just had to not say anything. You know, I told my buddy Alan about it.
Do you think that either the laser activity that you and your pal did that started this, or do you think this whole incident has just been like a random thing just happened just because you were driving down the road that one day?
I think at some point they see me going out, they see me loading crude oil, they probably wondered what the hell I'm doing with crude oil. And in fact, one of the craft I had seen, it was hovering over a field, and I was like, if you're going to go to another solar system, you're going to interstellar travel. What is the point of you hovering your craft over a field in the middle of nowhere? So I went back in the daytime and I looked like, okay, well, why would that UFO craft be hovering over that location? Well, the location that the UFO craft was, I couldn't see it at night, but during the daylight, there was a well. There was an oil well there right above. The craft was right above where there was an oil well out in the middle of this field. And at nighttime, I couldn't tell that, but during the daytime, it was there. Yeah, I've seen these craft. I've seen one hovering over a rural water tank supply, those big tanks that you see on the hill that supply rural communities with water. I've seen one over that. I've seen one over an oil well. I've seen one over a rural home. You know, they're definitely out there, and they're not just hovering over random fields. There's always a purpose for them being there. So
I think for the folks who aren't familiar with Texas and especially Ranger, Texas, why don't you describe what Ranger, Texas is like and the areas that you actually drive through?
Yeah, we're kind of in the northern central hill country, so we've got a lot of hills and there's a lot of wooded area around here. We have a lot of lakes and streams, mostly dry streams. They really don't run unless it's raining. And we have some natural springs that run out of the hills and stuff like that. So it's a really pretty area, and there's parts of pasture land where there are a lot of cattle and stuff mixed with heavily wooded area. And we have a lot of farmland out here where they grow peanuts and they grow winter wheat and hay and stuff like that around here. And it's quite a large area where I go, and I'm thinking, well, these guys, they seem like no matter where I go, I travel like several different counties within about a 200-mile range of here. And it's like on a Wednesday and Thursday night, they always find me. They're always there. And I'm thinking there's either a whole lot of them or they have some way of tracking my location. And, I'm not so sure. And here recently we found that I do have some kind of a piece of metal in me that we can't explain. They found it during the MRI last summer, actually.
Oh, that's one of the new incidents you were talking about, huh?
Yeah, my gallbladder went out this last summer. They did an MRI, and they found a piece of metal in my right side, and there's no associated scar or anything like that. And they quizzed me on what it was and how I got it. And they were worried that it might interfere with the MRI, and they said if it causes me any pain to let them know, and they would stop it. But I'm curious as to what it is. And we have an MRI of it. I haven't got to see it yet. I've requested the doctor. It's almost like the doctor doesn't want me to see it. And I was talking to Daryl Sims, and Daryl Sims is saying, yeah, these doctors will remove that kind of stuff from you and sell it to the government on the black market. And it's like the doctors are in cahoots with the government on taking these things out of people. And it was kind of curious when I requested the MRI, they wouldn't let me have it. They didn't want me to see it. It's like I paid for the damn thing. It's my body. And nobody wants me to take a look at it, and it's like every corner I've turned to look at my own MRI, now that I've known that there's something fishy in it, it's like they don't want me to see it, so I'm still determined to get a look at it. My doctor said he would give it to me. So I am going to get a look at whatever the hell that is, but that would explain how they seem to be able to find me.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, the last time that you were here, I did ask you a question about how the family reacted to you having these experiences. But shortly after that, you actually sent me a video that you went out with the family to a particular area where you normally see these things, and tell the folks what happened.
Yeah, it was like, my wife, she's like one of the biggest skeptics she'll ever meet, man. She's never seen anything. So she's like, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm the crazy UFO guy, the crazy alien guy, because they haven't seen anything like that. And I'm like, man, I wish the people that I live with could actually see something, maybe I'd be a little less crazy to them. And and we were traveling to a friend's birthday in Breckenridge, Texas, about 30 miles from here. We traveled out of town over there, and when we were coming back, and my wife actually said, she goes, "What is that? Just some weird lights up there in the sky." And I looked, and there was these sequencing lights, same kind of lights I seen, and they sequence in order. Like one would come on, it'd go out, and the next one beside it would come on, and then it'd go out, and the third one beside it would go on, and then it'd go out. And then all of them will go out, and then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, they'll reappear in the same area. You know, I mean, in the same area, or maybe just a little bit different area. And my wife seen it, and I said, "That's it." I said, "That's what I've been seeing." And so everybody in the car was excited. I tried to film it through the windshield of the car, and you can't see anything. You could see it with your eyes, but you couldn't. It would not show up on camera. So we were sitting there watching this thing. And I said, "Well, just keep going, follow it, keep going." And so you could hear everybody's excited, everybody's seeing it. And there's like 5 of us in the car, and my son's friends in there too. And I think my son's like 11, and the other kid's like 10. And so we're watching this thing, and I said, keep going. It would disappear, and then it would come back on. And we got down to Morton Valley. I said, "Okay," we seen it come on again. I said, "Okay, just stop right here. Everybody get the cameras out." So we had like 3 different cameras. We filmed it on 3 different cameras, and my son's little friend was going, "Oh my God!" And he goes, "I've been waiting my whole life to see something like this." I'm like, "You're 10 years old, man."
Yeah, that video was pretty hilarious. I cracked up when I saw that video.
Years. Yeah. I included that one part where you couldn't see the UFO, but you could hear the excitement of everybody in the car. Was the main reason I left it in there, because you could see that everybody's seeing something and everybody's excited about what they're seeing, So I left that clip in there, even though you couldn't really see the UFO. But we sit right there, Manny. You could see planes 30 miles away, and there's no planes around where these lights were coming on. And these lights are relatively close to us. I mean, within 200 or 300 yards of us, huge, big lights. And they were just like really not lights, more like illumination. There was huge illumination in the area would just appear. And then another one appear right next to it. And then it might go straight up. And then 2 or 3 would appear straight up, or 2 or 3 would appear straight down. And it was like in the same little area, and we sat there and watched it, and we recorded it on 3 different phones, and we watched it for about 30 minutes, and then an aircraft started coming. We could see the aircraft coming, and once the aircraft got near it, I thought they never come back on again. I thought, well, maybe this plane may collide with it. This plane, who knows? See if it's going to come on when this plane's near it. Nothing. It didn't come on when the plane went by, but we could see the plane go by not far from where the area is, and the plane left, and then it never came back on again.
That is just crazy. So
yeah, everybody got to see it.
How many years has it been since that very first incident?
I think the first things I started seeing was back in 2009. 2009, yeah, and so it's like 20. It's been like 10 years now. I've been seeing this stuff 10 years, but I don't see it all the time. Manny, sometimes I go a year without seeing anything. And you kind of let your guard down, and you kind of forget all about it. And you kind of stop looking if you haven't seen something in a year. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, man, it, boom, right in front of your face, with a few hundred yards away, you'll see a big UFO light will just light up the sky up ahead of you and just illuminate the sky and the whole area around. And then another one will sequence to the left, and another one, and then it may go up or it may go down. They may go out, and they may wait 2 or 3 minutes and then come back on and do it again. And you're just baffled and shocked, and it just surprises the hell out of you, and it appears when you least suspect it. And it's just like you just never know when they're going to show up. And I actually seen them same lights, and I think it's about 2 months ago. And I seen them, and it was right over Cisco, Texas. And I'm like, Cisco, Texas is a town of about 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 people. And I'm like, somebody in Cisco, Texas had to see this. It couldn't just be me. And so I got on Facebook, and I made this blast post. And sure enough, there was a lot of people in Cisco, Texas seeing it. Not only did people in Cisco, Texas seeing it, there's people seeing it all the way from Stephenville to Lingoville to Cisco. You could track the path of this thing as it moved across the area. And I posted a link to our sighting on Facebook, in Eastland County to the sighting that they had posted. Somebody had posted down in Stephenville, and it was at the same time of night, just a few, like an hour apart, just a few minutes apart. This thing appeared and traveled over a large area, and people from Stephenville to Ranger seen it, an area probably 45 to 60 miles long, and all sorts of people had seen it. So we're still seeing stuff out here.
Yeah, what is going on with Texas, especially the central part of Texas? It's a hotbed of UFOs.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, and these lights, I have been, and I've been on the internet, and I've looked, and I've said these same kind of lights have been seen all over the world. Even in China and Japan and other places like that, the same kind of stuff. And I don't know if it's interdimensional travelers, coming into our world, or if they're opening up some kind of portal and taking a snapshot, or what they're doing. And I've actually got a picture of one of those lights while it's on, and it was close enough with the high camera that I zoomed in, and you can see that it is very odd. It's not perfectly round. It is very oblong, weird looking. You can see that it's a complete illumination inside whatever it's shining out of. And I have no idea what it is, and neither does anybody else. And it's quite a mystery that goes on as to what this is exactly.
Yeah, it's complete madness. But
certainly,
that's why they're UFOs,
yeah.
Right? I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, but, you got so many people want to discount it. It's military flares. Well, I took that. I said, okay, well, I got on the internet. And I said, okay, let me look at some military flares and see what military flares look like. And I got an open mind. I got a healthy degree of skepticism. So let's look at some military flare videos. None of the military flare videos I've seen look anything like what these lights look like. None of them, and I've seen just about every kind of flare that the military drops, ground illuminating flares and stuff like that. Nothing. Flares seems to be, for the most part, a bright, small source of light that illuminates a large area. And this is a very large area of not very illuminated light, just the opposite of what a flare looks like. So the mystery continues as to what this is.
Yeah. So listen, Ronnie, there's a little matter or something else that happened before that we really haven't heard about on this podcast, but it had to do with almost like reverse probing. Yeah. We're gonna get to that. How much time do we got, Manny? We got about 30 minutes.
Okay. Well, let me go on. About a year after these things invaded my house was when I went down to Coleman, Texas. I was hauling a load of oil and down there, and finally I got this is the first time. This is where a lot of the pictures came from that you see on the internet. If you want to see my pictures on the internet, you can go to Google and just type in Ronny Dawson UFO, and a lot of my UFO pictures and stuff are posted right there. And a lot of those pictures happened 1 year after the little goblin invasion of my home. I didn't see anything for a solid year. I'm working nights again down there between Coleman and Cross Plains, Texas, off Highway 206, about a mile south of Highway 206. I'm at a lease. All of a sudden, I see pulling up on this lease. I haven't seen anything here, not even thinking about UFOs. And all of a sudden, I approach this lease and I see some lights come on, and the trees and the trees in this particular area are mesquite trees. Mesquite trees are 15, 20 feet tall, so they're not big trees. This thing's sitting on the ground. Lights come on the ground. Three lights. It lifts up above the trees. It starts moving above the trees, and then I'm grabbing my camera and I'm hanging out of my truck window to the waist, trying to get a picture of this thing. And by the time I got my camera up and running, the lights blink out, and I missed another opportunity of getting a UFO picture. But I'm sitting there and I'm doing my job, getting ready to buy this load of crude oil, and all of a sudden the lights I figured this thing didn't leave. It blinked out. All of a sudden it appeared out there over the field. And I thought, I got another picture of it. I got a picture of the lights finally. I was excited, man. I was taking some pictures of some lights. And I filled my damn camera memory up with stupid pictures of lights, having no idea what was fixing to happen later. And I missed a lot of great opportunities later because I took so many stupid pictures of just lights. But I was just so excited to get a picture of the damn UFO lights to show MUFON that I took way too many of them and used too much of my camera memory. In 2011, you didn't have many pictures that you could put on your phone. And I missed some great opportunities later because I took so damn many pictures of these stupid lights. But anyway, this lights came on. This lights went down over the tree line, and I decided to try to take a video. I took a video. I was hoping that you could zoom in later and see this craft sitting on the ground through the trees. And so I took a picture of this thing, a video of this thing. And well, by the time the video started, this thing leapfrogs about 200 yards. It goes up in the air and comes immediately back down to the ground where the trees and stuff are. And I had it all on video, and I said, holy shit, I just actually caught that on the video. And then all of a sudden, it sat there for about a second, and then that thing shot up in the air, and it's changing blue, red, yellow, and then just takes off. It travels about a mile in 2 seconds. Now, I play with rockets for a hobby, and I can tell you that if this thing traveled a mile in 2 seconds, it's faster than any rocket that I've ever shot. And my rockets travel over 1,000 miles per hour. And it takes them 3 seconds to travel a mile. And this thing traveled a mile in 2 seconds. So it's faster than any rocket I've ever shot off. And can't no aircraft that we have move that quick from a stop on the ground. And this thing just showed me that, this, and I'm like, holy shit, I actually caught all that on video. And to this day, you can go to Ronny Dawson YouTube channel, and you can see it there it's in my videos on the Ronny Dawson YouTube channel. Anyway, this thing stopped. And then it came back. And this time, this thing approached my location, and I'm sitting there, okay, now I've seen the lights. This thing, I'm getting, man, these are lights getting closer. And all of a sudden, I could see the disc blocking out the stars above my head, and then it got scary as hell. Because I was focusing on the lights underneath it, not thinking about the edge of the disc. All of a sudden, I seen the skies in the nighttime sky disappearing, and you could see the disc-shaped craft blocking out the stars. And this thing is about 20 feet above my head and blocking out the freaking stars. And by that time, my knees went to shaking, man, and I could hardly walk. And I really wanted to run, but there was no way I was going to be able to pull a run off. I was thinking clearly, but my knees weren't working well. And,
I bet they would. I tell you, I'd practically pass out, to be honest with you.
I went into hiding mode. I went off the tanks. I shut the loading valve so my truck had stopped loading, and I just hid. I hid behind this oilfield separator, and this thing, the edge of the craft stopped right over the top of my head, and I could look and see that there was a compartment underneath the UFO, and then all of a sudden this big white illuminated light came on side it, and there was something in the damn opening, and you could see something in it like it was a being of some sort looking out, and I'm sitting there hiding for my life, and I'm looking around me, and I see how dark it is, and I'm just waiting for something with outreaching hands come rushing at me from the dark, and I'm thinking I'm fixing to be going away for a little while, and I don't know, something I just want to get a picture, if nothing else, I could take a picture of this shit and then throw the phone when they come for me. So I leaned around the craft, and I wasn't even worrying about the camera being straight. I leaned around my hiding spot, and I took a picture of the light underneath the craft, and that's the picture that you see that has an alien in it. It has an alien inside the opening portal that's underneath the UFO craft. And then in August 2017, when I actually got to meet the aliens for the first time, one of the aliens looks identical to the alien in that picture, and I posted that picture, I think, to the UBR Truth Seekers on the page there, and you can see that the alien that I drew, I seen in 2017, and the pictures associated with it were taken in 2011, and you can see that it looks like the same being.
That picture that you say that you originally took, you actually did some sketches around it just to get some outlines for folks. Yeah, it was and Yvonne Smith, the famous regression therapist out of California. I seen her at the Roswell UFO Festival, and she encouraged me to make some sketches of the things that I couldn't get pictures of, and I thought that's a great idea because that had never occurred to me before. But that's something that they're doing now with modern UFO sightings. If you're in a situation where you see something, you can't get a picture of it, try to draw a sketch of what you saw, and that way we have something that we can show the people that as to what you've seen, and when a picture is not going to do justice to what you've seen. No, that's a really good idea because it's a good idea because a lot of times you don't have a camera, you don't have a phone, and all you got is your memory, so you might as well put it on paper before you lose it.
Right. And if something happens, you still got a record of what you've seen. So I took the time and made some sketches. Like I said, I had my gallbladder out, so I couldn't go to work for like 4 weeks. So I had enough time that I actually drew some sketches. And while I was at the Roswell thing, I got to be on the NBC First Look show. All you can see my happy face sitting in a chair. That's about it. They interviewed me for 15 minutes, and they didn't use any of my interview. And I'm glad they didn't, because of the pieces of the interview they did use was clips where people sounded like they were completely insane.
Oh.
I'm like, thank God they didn't show anything like that of me. But at least that's my first TV appearance in the United States. Anyway, I've been on Japan TV, but not in first time on TV in the U.S. But anyway, the thing is, man, a little bit later, this craft, I took a picture of it, and I had a feeling it's just to go away. And finally, I could hear a military jet coming, and this thing backed away, and then the lights went out on it. And then this military jet went right over the top of my location. I could see the jet actually just by looking straight up. It flew right. I thought it should have collided with the UFO, because right where the UFO backed away, this jet went right over the top of that location, and it didn't hit nothing. And then it circled and left. And I was amazed that it didn't hit it. I figured I was fixing to see a firefight. Nothing. It was like the UFO just blinked out, and the jet it's like he didn't see anything. And he left the area, and no sooner that jet left the area, and then this thing came back on the lights, UFO lights came back on over the field out there.
Yeah, it's so weird how they always seem to be around when these UFOs are making their way through our towns, huh?
Right, yeah. So, but I thought, well, this thing backed away, and I'm thinking, okay, my God, as long as I had the crap scared out of me, and now I'm happy that this thing is keeping its distance at this point. I'm just happy to see you out there over a field and not up close and personal. And so, but I noticed that there's these lights over my head, like an array of like 4 different lights, and they're moving like as a group, and it's circling my location. And it's almost like it's spiraling down and getting closer. And finally, this thing's getting really close, and it looks like it's fixing to fly over my location. And I thought, man, I want to see what this is now. I don't know what it is. So I got my camera out, and I'm looking. My memory is just about full already. And it's already giving me warnings that the memory is getting full. And I'm thinking, crap, man. So I looked at this thing before this thing was coming close to me, the sky started changing color. And all of a sudden, this thing started coming out of where the sky was changing color like a fog. It was like as a fog bank appeared, and this thing started coming out of it. And this thing, I thought it was small, but this thing was big. This thing was like, it just kept coming. And this thing looked like a Walmart parking lot flying over your location. It looked like it was 50 yards on both sides of me. It took 3 seconds to pass over me, and I was looking straight up. I could see the bottom of it. It looked like solid rock. I could see impact marks. I could see burn marks. Solid rock passing right over my head for 3 seconds. And this thing, I'm thinking, my God, is this a meteor? It looks like a meteor. And then it started slowing, and then it stopped. And then when the first part of it had passed over me, started tipping up. And then this thing, it took off so fast, man. You could hear the suction it created. You just like that. You could see the air rushing off. There was like fog trapped on the surface of this thing. It was rushing over the side of it like water over a waterfall. You could see vortex of air rushing to fill the space that it had occupied seconds earlier. And it took off so fast that I thought, I'm going to miss it. I ain't going to get a chance to get a picture of it. So I'm looking at my display screen. I'm looking at total black. I got a sky full of UFO and a black screen on my phone. You know how frustrating that is, man? I mean, anybody standing there could have seen this thing. You could have been a one-eyed man with bad vision, and you would have seen this thing because it was huge. It covered the whole area. I mean, you could not help but to see it if you were there. This thing was massive, and it took off. And I'm thinking, my God, I'm going to miss it. As big as this thing is, I'm going to miss it. It's like a V-shaped craft, and each half of the V was probably a half mile. And I mean, it filled the sky. You could imagine what that would look like. It looked like a Walmart parking lot flying in the sky above you. And this thing took off, and my screen was black, and I thought, I can't miss this thing. And so I aimed the eye at the camera, And I thought I was taking a picture. Well, I clicked the button. Well, actually, it was still on video from what I had taken earlier. All of a sudden, it started a video. Who would have knew that I even had enough room for a video? I thought I was taking a picture. And I took, the video started, and all you get is the left-hand side of the graph, and all of a sudden, but the thing is, all of a sudden it banks. Now, instead of seeing the bottom of it, now I'm looking at the top of it. The top of it looks like it's got a city embedded onto the surface of it. And this thing is coming back at me. It's almost like the camera's zooming in. This thing is coming back at me. I'm looking at the top of it. I see all these structures. I see these blue pyre glowing lines stretched across the surface of it. And I'm seeing all this amazing stuff. There's a big tower on the one part of it, and I'm like, my God, it looks like a city built on it. And this thing is coming back at me. And all of a sudden, and then I start thinking, put the camera down and hide, you dumbass. And then it stops. And then it does this big circle around the area. Then it tilts up 45-degree angle, takes off, and goes from a giant craft to just a star moving across the sky in just a matter of about 3 seconds.
What
and at that
an
point, I
amazing
realized
sight,
I wasn't going to get taken away, man. I was cheering like a high school girl that just got invited to the prom, man. I was excited. I was jumping up in the air. I was swinging my fist, going, hell, yeah. And it's a damn shame that everybody in the world could have seen that. I was excited, man. It's like, holy shit. You know, this is God almighty amazing. I filed a FAA low craft report. I never said UFO. And the FAA said every airplane in the area was accounted for, and then I should report my UFO, their term, to describe what I saw, the new fort. So if the FAA described it as a UFO, you could probably bank that it's not from around here. MUFON's Teresa Turner came out and did the investigation, and she was trying to convince me that it's a black military secret project. But once we analyzed the footage, I've been analyzing this footage since 2011, and I went from 7 steel frames to 22 steel frames, and I'm seeing stuff on this craft that it doesn't look like it's ever been touched by human hand, and it's got alien beings on top of it that certainly don't look like they're from around here. I even had a zoologist look at one of them, and he said he knows every animal on the planet Earth, and that's not one of them.
So what year was that that sighting, Ronny?
That was March 2nd, 2011.
2011. So that means your report to New Fork went to the one and only Deuce Bigelow, the Space Gigolo.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. So, and anyway, yeah, so that's called the Coleman, Texas sighting, because Coleman, Texas was the closest town to there. And still, after that, you know, there's still other weird stuff happened, you know. And that's I didn't think it could get any weirder than that, but like I said, I think it was February of 2017, I woke up in my bed and I seen this cloud of vapor over the bed, and I had teenage daughters, and I thought something got burned. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to get up and see where the smoke is coming from. And the lights are on in the bedroom because we're fixing to go to bed, and the wife says she'd be right back. And all of a sudden, there's this smoke hovering over the bed. And I'm thinking, oh, man, something got burned. So I'm fixing to get up and go put out the fire or whatever I got to do. And all of a sudden, the smoke takes off the bed, shoots through the wall. And I'm going, holy shit. That's like a free-roaming vapor there. That's something paranormal. That's nothing that you can explain, you know.
Yeah, Ronny, that's when you like, did you call out to the family and you get the hell out of the house?
But it was like this, yeah, the smoke, as soon as I woke up and was looking at it, it shot off through the wall. And it covered a king-size bed. It was hovering about 2 feet above me, and it was pretty thick, a cloud of smoke, and it moved amazingly quick, and it shot through the wall. Well, August 2017, I'd working nights. I came home. I was asleep. It's late in the morning because I usually get off work at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, so I sleep till 9 or 10 the next morning. So everybody's up. I'm still sleeping, and all of a sudden, I'm not even dreaming. I'm so tired. And all of a sudden, it was like these 2 women are trying to pull. They got my arms and they're pulling on me, and I slip out of their grasp and I fall back, and I immediately go back to sleep. And I'm thinking, wow, that was a weird little dream, you know. It was like 2 women pulling on my arms. That was weird. All of a sudden, I had a dream. I started dreaming again. I thought, these 2 women are pulling me on the arms, and now one of them says, help us. And I feel like I'm crawling out of a manhole cover or something. I'm like stuck. I really can't get loose. And I'm trying to help them, and they pull me out. And now I'm standing there talking to them, and they tell me that they're from another world. They need to, they're sorry for disturbing my rest. They need to have a conversation. And I'm like, you're from another world. Right. And so I look at them, and sure enough, these one's about 6'6". She's got blue skin. She's got this big red ruby thing glued to her face. The other one is very shapely built, and she's got like a cat nose and a cat mouth with short whiskers on her upper lip. And I'm going, oh shit, these girls aren't from around here.
Now they sound like they might be related to King Plachacha.
I don't know. But I was sitting there going, okay. And they said, we pulled you out of your sleeping body. And she pointed, and I looked down there, and there's my body sleeping in the bed. I'm standing in the bed up to my knees, and I'm talking to two freaking aliens, and I'm going, what the hell? And she says, we pulled you out of your sleeping body for a conversation. And she pointed at me, and I looked, and there I am sleeping. But I want to make sure it's me. I want to walk over and look down at my own face. So I try to take a step. Well, my knees are embedded into the bed, and I look like I don't even have it. I look like my legs are chopped off at the knees. I try to move, and I hang up, and I start falling forward. I put my hand out to catch myself, and I put my hand on my own leg just below the knees, and I felt my shin bone, and then all of a sudden my hand went through that shin bone, and I could feel the softness of the mattress underneath it, and I felt like I broke my own leg, and I'm freaking out, and I looked down at my knees while I can't walk, and then realized that my knees are chopped off. So I don't know if I even have knees. I'm just standing in this bed with chopped off knees, and these guys are grabbing me by the shoulder. No, come over here, and they're dragging me out of the bed, and I'm wading out of my own bed. And they said, look, said, here, you can move through solid matter here. This is the place that we watch your world from. And they said, we can see you, we can hear you. So this is a place where no physical harm can come to anyone. This is a place where germs and bacteria and viruses can't be transmitted. And this is where the people from your world are going to meet the people of our world. It's like they pull my spiritual essence out of my body, my life force, or my spirit, whatever you want to call it. They pulled me out for a conversation. Well, I had 2 arms, 2 hands. I could see my hands. I had a physical body. I could think. I could communicate. I could form ideas and thoughts. And it was just a really weird deal. And I'm thinking, oh, man, okay, well. And then she told me to put your hand on her face, and she encouraged me to push my hand. And I pushed my hand, and she said, give him a little resistance. And my hand went into her head, and I could feel the brain matter inside her brain. And it was like my hand just went in her head, and I pulled my hand back, and it was kind of gross because my hand wasn't wet, but I could feel the wetness inside her skull, if you can imagine that. And I'm like, and she goes, you can move through solid matter here. Okay, well, my wife was walking through the room, and I'm sitting there talking to 2 alien chicks, and I'm standing beside my bed, and I see my wife walk perfectly clear through the bedroom, going to the bathroom.
Was she walking to get her frying pan?
And she would have if she'd have seen anybody talking to me standing naked. And she goes to the bathroom, and she comes back, and she pauses. And freaks one of the aliens out. She looks at the other one. She goes, can she see us? And she goes, no. She's looking at him, and she points at my body laying in the bed. And I talked to my wife, and she said she does that because I've had a history of sleep apnea at times, and she'll pause on her way back from the bathroom just to make sure that I'm breathing. And so she pauses for a second. She looks. I guess she sees me take a breath, and then she heads on out. And they told me that they can't hear or see us from here. And I'm going, well, apparently you're right because, she certainly didn't see us. But it freaked one of them out because she paused. And she asked the other one, did she see us? She goes, no. She's just looking at him. And so I'm asking these guys. I said, okay, how did you guys get here? Because that's the thing you want to ask the ET is how the hell did you get here, right? If you came from someplace else, how did you get here? And they said, well, we can show you. We said this place here is like a rift between 2 dimensions. We live in a parallel universe that's very close to your universe, and you don't realize it. We discovered your world because your nuclear testing shot light and radiation off one of our planets, and we thought it might be an interdimensional attack because apparently that is a thing. They thought this might be a staging area for an interdimensional attack that had happened to their planet a while back in a war that they had with apparently creatures that are very similar to what they refer to as our fallen angels. And they had a federation of planets that fought these guys. They actually killed one of them, and that is like one of the major tourist attractions in their whole solar system is this dead fallen angel that they managed to kill.
They're a little morbid, huh? That these girls are a little loose kind, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, I tell you what, it was hard to swallow all this, and I was like, this is part of the same bunch that I've been seeing the whole time. It's just, this is finally I'm getting to meet them. Now, the other little guys that raided my house and stuff like that, these are like little contract workers. If they need something done, like maybe the gray aliens, I don't know. If they need some biological material, maybe they contract the grays to get it. These little guys are like, I don't know, they're like a little team of guys that come in and raid your house or whatever they need to do. You know, it's like the goblins, like Kentucky goblins, you know. Maybe that's what that was all about. You know, so who knows? It was like this is a consortium of different species of aliens that are working together towards a common goal, if you can picture that. Because these are two different species that I'm standing here talking to. One's tall and blue, and the other one is shorter with big hair and leopard-like qualities.
I guess the question really for everyone is, what is that common goal? Why are they so, after humanity? And why are they after Ronny Dawson? That's what I want to know.
Well, but they're checking us out for one thing to see if we're stationary for an interdimensional attack, and we're still looking at us as to who did that, who allowed it to happen, and I hope that our government wasn't involved in that, because it may not go well for us if that's the case. Like I said, these aren't benevolent aliens, but they're not malevolent either. They're kind of in between. I mean, if you mess with, because I asked her, I said, well, in this place right here, it said weapons wouldn't even work. Because I'm thinking, well, if you can't hurt, if you can make this solid matter, nothing's going to hurt you here. Somebody can shoot you with a gun, the bullet would just go through you. And she goes, nah. She said, we have weapons that work here, and there have been battles that have been fought here, is what she told me. And I'm going, okay, so you guys have weapons that work here, but we don't. But I said, well, can I see where you came from? I said, is that possible? And she goes, yeah, we can show you. So, and I said, okay, she said, look, just step through this wall right here, and you'll be able to see where we came from. And I was going, she said, look, you can move this automatic. She kind of acted like she was pissed off because I was taking so long, but you have to understand, I have a picture on my wall. It has a glass on it. I'm trying to move my face through this glass, and I'm afraid this glass is going to break and cut my face. So it's creepy as freaking hell trying to walk through this glass with my face. So I'm going real slow, and she's kind of acts like, just go, you're all right, just go. She's trying to encourage me to hurry up. It's almost like they're on a tight schedule here. So I'm like, okay. So I started moving through this. I felt the glass going through my face. I felt it going through my skull. I felt the sheetrock in the wall going through my stomach, and that's a really creepy feeling. My stomach, for its whole life, has known what it's felt like to hold the intestines, but I could feel sheetrock actually moving through. It didn't hurt, but it didn't feel natural. It felt very creepy. Like you wouldn't want to stand there, just stand in it, because it's uncomfortable. And I felt this stuff going through me. And when I moved through the wall, I felt the stud in the wall go through my right shoulder. And I thought, man, this is weird. And yet you kind of have to struggle through it. You can't just walk with ease. And anytime you're moving through solid matter, like when I moved through the bed, there's some resistance there. It's like you don't have much weight, and your solid matter is moving through some solid matter, and you have to kind of struggle through it. It's about like wading through water or something like that. You can do it, but it's a little bit of a struggle to get through it. And that's the way the wall was. You kind of had to work through it. You had to push your way through it. You couldn't just easily glide through it. You had to push your way through it. And I felt the stud go through my right shoulder, and before I even told anybody about this counter, I was like, I was thinking to myself, thinking, if this was just a dream, I don't want to tell anybody. Yeah. But I want to make damn sure it ain't a dream, not saying anything to anyone about it. But I have two pictures on my wall, side by side, and they're very similar but different. Okay, the one right beside my bed, when I get out of bed, I said, I know for a fact that thing doesn't have a glass on it. And it occurred to me, you know what, the other one, I don't think it has a glass on it either. So I come home from work one day going, I could prove that it's just a dream now, because that second picture doesn't have a glass on it. That was in my dream. So I come in here and I look, and guess what? That second picture has a glass on it. The first one doesn't. The second one that I went through has a glass on it. Not only does it have a glass on it, it would impact me right in the face if I walked through it. And then I got my stud finder out, and I remember the stud going through my right shoulder. The same area where I went through the wall and the stud went through my shoulder, I got my stud finder out, and I put it on the wall, and guess what? There's a stud in the wall right there.
So, Ronnie, what do you think this whole activity? Why did they do this to you? What was their plan?
They wanted to have a conversation about the people of their world are demanding to meet the people of our world, that your scientists and stuff are working together to accomplish this means. And basically what they want to know how to go about telling the people of Earth that the people from their world have been watching us and want to communicate with us without us all going crazy and killing each other, going insane or whatever. But so they wanted my thoughts and ideas on that. And I said, first of all, people right here are very skeptical. They're not going to believe somebody who just comes and tells them that they're in contact with that. I said, you either got to provide me with some definite proof that some material not from Earth, that with a machine or something that does something that we are incapable of making. I said, or even better than that, I said a global display of alien presence that will show the whole world that you're here. And they nodded, they agreed, and they said that they would pass it on to the others. That's what she told me. She said, we will pass it on. What you should do is a global display of alien presence that nobody can deny on the whole Earth. Like fly a huge ship around this thing in broad daylight until everybody on Earth is willing to admit that aliens are real in here.
I got like this weird thought, like maybe these were like, maybe they were like two college chicks from the alien side who decided to just come over and screw with people.
No, the feline was a geneticist, and she knew her business, and she talked. And because they kept bugging me for a genetic sample, and they said, we'd like to get a genetic sample. We need a genetic sample. Our superiors have asked for a genetic sample, and I'm going, yeah, okay, at this point, it's Earth meets people from another world. I'll give you whatever the hell you want. I will take one for the team. If you need to stick something on my ass, I will do it. I will let you do it just so the people from Earth can be friends with you. And I think anybody would in that circumstance. This is way bigger than me. This is bigger than all of us, really. And I'm like, you just tell me what you need.
I got to say, no, I would not agree to that ever.
Hey, if I could fly around like a Jetsons, if I could live in the clouds in a floating house, it'd be worth taking one up the ass, man. I would gladly take one up the ass for those kind of perks.
Ronnie, if anybody ever asks me, I would say, I know a guy.
You know a guy who will take one for the team.
That's right. It
will change our world.
Exactly. I'd be like, no, I have a reverse chastity belt, and it does not go in that direction.
Yeah, but when I walked through that dimensional portal, I was in space. I was doing this flip. I could see an alien planet over there. I could see this rocky moon float by. I could see what I thought was the sun, but it actually turned out to be a second moon catching the light of the sun that I could not see. And then I could see a black hole in their sky, in their space, off their world. You could see a black hole. You could see with all the planets circling around it, which are probably whole solar systems getting sucked into it, which is a scary thought. And you could see this thing. I could see gravitational waves that seemed like it was coming from this thing that would move across. It was almost like a blur across the planet that I was looking at. The planet that I was looking at had a huge desert area. It had some thin, small oceans and 3 major continents. And part of the huge desert area, I think, is where they sustained an attack from an interdimensional rockets being shot through a dimensional stargate. And that was one of the things they were looking to see if we were a staging area for the attack that was launched on them. And I hope that we weren't part of that. But she said that their people and our people want to be friends. And they were wearing our clothes. And they said the clothes that they had on, and one was wearing like a yoga pants and exercise top. And she said the people have been watching us from their world, and our world's already affecting them because they've seen some of our clothing designs, and they love them, and they make them out of material on their planet. And she rubbed on the pants, and she looked at me, and she said, so soft. It was the funniest damn thing you could ever see, man.
That is
this
hilarious.
Big-eyed alien looking at you, rubbing her pants leg, going so soft. And the other one had, like, designer blue jeans on and a white blouse. And she said, we wore these clothes so you'd feel more comfortable. But when it come time for me to give the genetic sample, The other one said, I'll step out. She said, my associate would just wonder if you would just have sex with her. If you would just have sex with her so she could get her genetic sample, that would be fine. And I'm going, she said, you don't have to. And I said, well, that is a very odd request. And I felt kind of strange. Like, and she said, look, she leaned over as to whisper in my ear, and she said the people on her planet, she said, they're completely sexually inhabited, and they have sex like the people of your world, shake hands or smile at a stranger. And I'm thinking, oh my God, girlfriend looks like a total slut. But she's like, they're completely sexually inhabited, She said, you don't have to if you don't want to. It would just be it would be the quick, easy way. And I was like, well, okay, she said, well, I'll step out and give you some privacy. So then when she starts taking off her clothes, she puts my hand on her, really weird. It's like she's got this skin that's like covered like in a belt. She's got these stripes more like zebra stripes, but they're different. Her skin is like a cat, like a leopard kind of felt skin, and she's got these beautiful stripes. I mean, go up and down her whole body, and you can see her cat ears sticking through her hair. You can see her. She's beautiful in the face, but her nose and her mouth goes to like a cat's mouth, and then you can see that she would have had long whiskers, but it seemed like they were trimmed. They were like cut off. They almost looked like porcupine quills sticking out of her top lip. And anyway, if you could just picture a Las Vegas showgirl with the most elegant cat costume you could ever imagine, I mean, that's about. I mean, this thing is human, but it's not human. And anyway, so she whips off her clothes. She said, put my hand on her breast. She said, do you think I'm as pretty as your wife? And I'm going, well, you're very pretty. And she said, I've been watching you. And she said, I want you to make me feel like she feels. And she jumped up on the bed in the same position that we use a lot, me and my wife. And I thought, oh my God, yeah, she's been watching the whole freaking time.
A bit of a perv, these aliens. What's going on?
She had seen everything, but she kept her butt's on top of the bed, and she's looking away from him, but she's doing this tight turn, talking to me, and it's really creepy because she could move. Her range of motion is way more than what a human could pull off. I mean, her spinal cord must be built different or something, because it's almost like she could be pointed away from me and turn and talk to me. And it was really creepy. And I was thinking, I wish she'd quit doing that because it's creepy as freak. Stop that shit. And anyway, so she's there on the bed. She's naked. She's wanting me to like have sex with her so you can get this sample. Here goes my wife looking, perfect time. And my wife walks through the room again. And I'm thinking, holy shit, talking about a mood killer. I mean, this is pretty awkward. And my wife comes walking back from the bathroom, and she yells at her. She goes, excuse me, ma'am, lady, can I have sex with your husband? And my wife she's like 3 feet from her, and she's yelling at her, and she just keeps walking. And she said, Ronny, look, she said, your sleeping body is there. And she pointed at it laying in the bed. And I thought, oh, okay. So I was like, it's almost like, my sleeping body is there. This is not really my physical body. This is my out-of-body or whatever the hell you want to call it. And I'm thinking, let's just get this over with, all right? I just want to fulfill my contract or obligation. Let's do this. It's not playful, not fun. It's not exciting. It's not this romantic interlude that everybody tries to make it into. It's just a very awkward sexual encounter with the ET being for the purposes of genetic sampling, And I reached down to make sure everything is kosher down there, and it felt like she was good for business, so I tried to transact. I did the transaction as fast as I could, get it over with. She jumps up on the bed. She pulls out this electronic device that I didn't know she had. She sticks it under, ejaculates. She shoots it in there like a cowboy would spit a chew of tobacco out. And it's like, I think she's done this before, man. She stuck it in there. The light comes on in this glass thing, and it's got this yellow plastic handle thing on it. These lights go up and down. And then she's complaining that there's no living sperm in it. Well, I've had a vasectomy. And I said, well, I'm not a very good DNA sample. And she goes, no, you're fine. She goes, we got all these genetic modifications we have to do anyway. She said the sperm is, it's modified for the plant it's going to be used on. It said, your sperm said you will be the father of, said your children will seed a new world or something like that. And I'm going, yeah, I said, it's a world it's children I'll never meet and a world I'll never see. So I was kind of like, yeah, it's not as exciting as you think. I guess I'm not as excited as you thought I'd be. Because I said, it's a world I'll never see and children I'll never meet. And
so that's a lot of little Dawsons tripping interstellar space and interdimensional space, huh?
Right. Anyway, so she started rambling on about the genetic modifications that they do to the sperm and stuff like that. So it's barely even similar to what we donate to them. In the first place, they have to make so many changes to it, but they gourmet it for whatever planet it's going to be used on, apparently. And so, anyway, she said, "Oh, this is fine." She goes, "You have to understand, we need genetic samples from everyone. Everyone that would be willing to donate, we need a sample from them." And it's almost like, and they were talking to each other about some different programs that they were running and doing stuff. And they had this conversation between the two of them. And I felt like a dumbass trying to listen in on it, but it sounded like they were, I don't know, trying to work on some kind of means of interdimensional tourism where like they could take, like maybe our physical body can't go there, but our spiritually we could go there. They could put our spiritual essence in a clone if they can develop a genetic code for the body to accept it, if that makes sense. But there's some weird stuff going on, but it sounds like some pretty exciting stuff down the road for us if all this happens. So I'm pretty excited about what went on. And the conversation, they said they would tell the others, and it was time for me to leave. And they said, well, I said, well, how do I get back? I stood by my body, and they said, well, just lay on top of yourself. So I thought, okay, that's very odd. So I sit down on top of myself, and I laid right on top of my sleeping body, and I just laid there. Nothing happened. I sat up, and I said, look, it ain't working. And they kind of looked like they were shocked that it didn't work. Like maybe they weren't that good at this, right? And she goes, okay, get up. She said, get up. Stand beside the bed, and she said, leap onto yourself. So I stood up beside the bed, and I leaped where I landed on myself. And then when I landed on myself, it felt like I fell 5 feet. I mean, my stomach tripped out. I woke up immediately from sleep. And here's the thing, man, the room looked identical. I mean, there was the light coming in from around the curtains, the light coming in from the doorways, the light coming in from the kitchen, the light coming in from the bathroom door that my wife had kept frequently. The light in the room was absolutely exactly perfect to when I was having the conversation with them.
It's
and I
like
told
nothing
myself,
ever happened.
I'm not going to remember any of this. And she said, you will remember everything that we did. She said, and the people in the world, when they meet us in this place, they will remember everything about the conversation. She said, because this is an alternate reality. She said, this is not a dream state. She said, what this body is going through right now is a dream state. What you're going through right now is an alternate reality, and you'll remember everything that happened here. And as soon as I woke up, I was shocked not to see them standing beside the bed. But I realized that I was back in my physical body, and they were where I was just previously, and they were probably still standing there. And I kind of looked at where they were standing, and I smiled like, okay, I'm back. And the room looked identical to the way it looked just seconds before I leaping onto my own body. The light coming in from the windows was exactly the same. So I'm confident that whatever happened here was probably the real deal. It probably wasn't any kind of a dream state. I've never had dreams like that. I've never, nothing to that kind of detail. And the fact that the pictures where it was, the stud in the wall, the lights coming in the room, all that tells me, and the UFOs that I had been seeing, the aliens that I'd been seeing in my house, and the stealth and all that shit all adds up to this is probably the real deal. This was probably a real deal encounter, even though I can't prove it. I got no way of proving that it happened, but except my story.
So, Ronny, you've had all these experiences. You're getting close to 10 years of dealing with this ET UFO situation. What does it all mean?
I think it means that they seem like they like me for some reason. I don't know. I think I'm a pretty good person. I'm a good father to my kids, a good husband to my wife. And that's the reason I told my wife everything about the whole sexual encounter. I didn't try to hide anything. I hate liars. I hate lies. Lies are poison to the soul, and I hate it when somebody tells me a secret. I don't keep secrets. I hate secrets. So I'm pretty straightforward. I tell everything I'm generally a good person, and I think they watch me for some reason. Maybe it's because I was loading crude oil. They followed me, they observed me, and they found out that I was somebody they truly liked. And they when they called me Ronnie, they seemed like they knew me. It was almost like they were comfortable being around me, even though I was kind of odded out because it was my first encounter meeting them. But they acted like they had been around me for years. They spoke with their mouth. Now the one that had the cat's mouth, she spoke very, very intelligently, but she had trouble making a few syllables. And like a person with a speech impediment, I noticed when she had trouble saying a word, she would had enough knowledge, sense to her that she would not use that word again. She would find another word to use in its place, just like somebody with a speech impediment would. So, and even with her cat mouth, she was struggling to say some of the syllables that we have and stuff. But they both spoke with their mouths, not with their any kind of a mind language or anything like that. They spoke English but more. It was proper English, not like the Texas that I speak. Very eloquent, precisely spoken language.
So, Ronnie, we're coming to the end of the interview, but what's installed for you what's in store for you when it comes to this UFO topic? Because I know you've been going to a couple of UFO conferences and things like that. What does the future hold for you?
Well, the thing is it's like nobody knows who I am still. I volunteered at Alien Con to be on a experiencer panel, and they don't know who I am. They're like, who the hell is that guy? Nobody, because I'm not the Stephen Greers, I'm not the Bassett's, and I'm none of these guys. I'm just a guy who has real life encounters with aliens, ETs, and UFOs, and got footage. Travis Walton, as amazing as his exciting is, he didn't get any pictures. I've got the story, I've got the pictures, to go along with it. Yeah, it's not, and they're like, oh, these armchair ufologists want to say, well, those pictures are blurry. I'm like, yeah, but you have to hear the story, and then I could tell you about the pictures. Yeah, this is what this is. This is what it is. You need to be standing there with me. And, I suppose no one's ever put me on any kind of a conference, circuit or speak at any convention or anything like that. And some of these big-time ufologists kind of look down their nose at me like, oh, that's that guy from Texas, and full of shit, It's like, I guarantee you I'm no more full of shit than they are. I can guarantee you, I haven't made it. I wrote my book, but I really haven't tried to promote it, and it's basically just in case something happens to me that people will have a record of what went down, And I add 2 chapters. If something new happens on an ebook, I can add a couple of chapters to it, and that's what I've already done that with the August 27 encounter.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I actually do have the link to the ebook in the description for this episode. But here's a question. Maybe you should consider not waiting for people to discover you. Maybe it's time for Ronny Dawson to get in touch with people and have them put your story out there somewhere, like Netflix.
Yeah, there's always a possibility that it happens, but you have to, it's a slow process. People think, oh, it's going to be, you see something, you take some amazing pictures, and next thing you know, you're famous and rich, and everybody will know who you are. No, ufology is a very slow, tedious process. And still to this day, people don't know who I am. People are getting the word out there. I've done radio shows, showing up on some TV and stuff like that. But for the most part, most of the mainstream ufologists, they barely even heard my name or know who I am. And it's frustrating to go to these conferences and see the same old people telling the same old story that they've been telling for 20 years. And it really makes me not want to go to the damn things. I've got a new, fresh, amazing story, and nobody wants to hear it. Sad but true.
Well, listen, Ronnie, at UFO Buster Radio, we always want to hear it, and we appreciate everything you do, especially inside UBR Truth Seekers, the Facebook group.
Yeah, I love you guys, man, and like I said, if you're listening to this and you ain't a part of UBR Truth Seekers group, you need to join in with us, man. We need to grow this thing.
So, Ronnie, we're down to the end of the episode, but any last words that you want to share with folks, anything that you're going to be doing, attending, any kind of information you want to share?
Nothing right now is set in stone yet. On April 18th, I'm going to be doing the last hour of the Beyond Reality radio show with Chase with J.B. Johnson and Jason Hawes and J.B. Johnson. And I think it's going to be at midnight Central Time on August 18th. That's a pretty big time radio show. I'm going to be doing the second hour of it. So if you can check that out, if you want to check out my ebook, you can. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's on Amazon. I think I've seen it on Walmart. But I've got some books, and if you buy a printed copy of my ebook, if you ever see me, just wave it at me, and I will come to you and I will sign it for you. Because that thing costs like $28, and I've told people, like, if you actually buy one of those and wave it at me, and you're in a crowd, I will find you. I will make my way to you, and I will sign that thing. If you're willing to spend $28 on my story, I will make my way to you in the crowd and sign the book for you.
Well, that's fantastic, Ronny. So the links are in the description if anyone wants to pick up a copy of Ronny's book. And, hey, reach out to him. He's on Facebook. He's on UBR Truth Seekers. Ronny's everywhere. You just got to look up Ronny Dawson UFO story. You will find him all over the place.
Yes, and if you want to see my UFO pictures, just go to Google and do a Ronny Dawson UFO search, and you'll be able to see most of the pictures that I've taken right there on Google Images. And you don't have to go to a website. You can just pull up Google, do a Ronny Dawson UFO search, and you'll be able to see tons of pictures that I've taken from the UFO sightings.
Well, Ronny, I thank you for coming back again and visiting us and bringing us that update on your story.
Thank you, man. I enjoyed it. It's been fun. Love all that you guys do.
Well, from UFO Buster Radio and everyone else, thank you, Ronny, and thank you guys for listening. And we'll be back with another person from UBR Truth Seekers, but it'll be a secret who that is. But until next time, it'll be ciao.
Ciao.